Okay, in today's lesson we're looking at ratios. Okay, so you're gonna get a question. It wants you to put it in the form n to 1. So what that means is, so for example, here we've got 8 to 4. And we want it in this form here, something to 1. It could be, for example, 8 eggs for 4 grams of butter, okay, or for terms of cooking, but I had a guess. So 4 to 1, we divide it by 4. And then 8. Now it's a ratio, so it has to stay proportional. We divide that by 4, and it gives us an answer of 2 to 1. Here, same again. We need it in this format here. Something to 1. For 5 to get to 1, we divide it by 5. Same thing here. In terms of ratio, keep it all proportional. 3 to 1. Here it gets a bit trickier. Don't panic with the fractions. Let me explain. We need it in this form here. Something to 1. Now, what we have to do here, well, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either, or a quarter, you can either times it by 4. And there we are. Times that by 4. And that gives us it in the form of 8 to 1. And there is a second method, and let me just show you how that works. You can also do 2 to a quarter. You can also divide it by a quarter, because 1 quarter divided by a quarter is 1, and 2 divided by a quarter is also 8. We'll change the color, 8 to 1. That's another way you can do it. Okay, so let's have a look at the last one. Just pause and reflect here. I'm just going to pause with you. Tell me, how do you think you can get this one? Okay, let's start it. We need it in the form n to 1. So, how are we going to do it? Well, 3/5, we can't multiply it into 1. It's a bit fiddly. What we can do is divide it by 3/5. I guess that's 1, because 3/5 divided by 3/5 is 1. Well, 7/8, I have to do the same thing. Divide it by 3/5. Okay, let's have a look at that. I'm going to go in really small now. 7/8 divided by 3/5 equals, well, we did this in the last lesson, 7/8 times, we're going to flip this fraction here, 5 over 3, and that's going to equal 35 over 24. And there we are. We can leave the answer there. 35 over 24. That's your answer. Or if you want, you can do 1 and 11 24s to 1. And there you are. There. Can you copy that model down? And then you've got some practice questions. If you need any support, you've got some hints here. Okay, and then you can self-mark when I release the answers, and then let's look at another model. In a school, there were 52 teachers and 598 students. So write the student, and this is what they do to trick you up. They flipped it. Can you see how I first spoke about teachers and then students, and now they want student to teacher? So write the ratio student to teachers in the form n to 1. Student, teacher. And we know that we have 598 students for 52 teachers. We want it in the form n to 1. Well, what's n? Well, 52. How do we get from 52 to 1? Now, we have to remember, because it's ratios, we must multiply or divide, because we have to keep it proportional. Must stay proportional. So we're going to divide it by 52. Then you can use a calculator for this one. 598 divided by 52 gives us 11.5. So that means that we have 11.5 teachers for every one student. Now we can't have half of a human, but that's what the question wants, so we're going to keep it like that. Okay, the next question. So, which school has a large, oh, sorry, another school, let me read the question correctly. Another school has 85 teachers and 1,020 students. Which school has a larger number of teachers per student? So again, well, let's just move this to one side. So let's move this to one side, and we can move that to one side as well. Let's get some space. Okay, so the second school, this is school one. Okay, so let's look at school two. Okay, so so we're gonna go students. So S, the teachers, we had 1,020 to 85, and we want to get it in this form. We want to find how many students to teachers. So we're going to divide this by 85. And we'll do the same thing here. Divide that by 85. So 1,020 divided by 85 gives us 12. Okay, this is interesting. So the question is asking, which school has a larger number of teachers per student? So school one was 11.5 to 1. So for every 11.5 students, you've got one teacher. School two is 12 students for one teacher. Which school has a larger number of teachers per student? Read the question carefully. So essentially, you're looking for more teachers per student. It's going to be school one because they have less students per teacher. That's what we're going for here. School one. Practice question, you got 3 of them. Have a go, I'll be online to support you. You got a few hints on the right, and then 3 application questions. Have a go at that and let me know how you get on.